Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer everyone, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing stories in coin collecting history, the unbelievable case of a humble 1998 1-cent penny from the United States that, against all odds and expectations, turned out to be worth an astronomical $74 million. Yes, you heard that right, $74 million for a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice and might even pass over on the street. And in this video, we're going to explore everything behind that insane value, the mystery, the errors, the minting mistakes, and all the extraordinary circumstances that transformed an ordinary-looking copper-plated zinc penny into a collector's dream and a multi-million-dollar artifact. So let's get into it and start uncovering all the intricate details and possibilities that have contributed to making this 1998 penny a jaw-dropping marvel in the numismatic world, starting with the fact that it was struck during a time when the US Mint had transitioned from using copper coins to copper-plated zinc coins, a change that took place in the 1980s, and while 1998 itself wasn't known for widespread minting problems like other years such as 1955 or 1943, it turns out that rare and significant errors can pop up in any year, and in the case of this particular coin, several extremely unusual factors came together in a perfect storm to skyrocket its value beyond belief, including a mint mark anomaly that doesn't match the expected production standards for that year and location, potential double die obverse and reverse errors, off-center striking, planchet issues, and even questions surrounding the composition of the coin itself, which raises eyebrows because it appears to contain traces of a different metallic composition, suggesting that it may have been struck using leftover or misplaced planchets meant for a different denomination or even a different country. And what makes this even more intriguing is that experts and collectors have gone to great lengths to verify the authenticity of the coin, using tools like electron microscopes, spectrographic analysis, and comparison with known specimens, all confirming that the 1998 penny in question is not only real but also one of a kind. And what's more, it appears to have come from the Philadelphia Mint, which is known for not using a mint mark, but this coin reportedly bears an unusual and misplaced D mint mark, typically reserved for the Denver Mint, and that immediately sends up red flags because mint marks aren't added randomly, they follow very strict protocols, so the presence of an incorrect mint mark in the wrong position or at the wrong angle can suggest either a striking error or an unauthorized alteration. But in this case, it's been ruled a genuine mint error and not post-mint damage, and if that weren't enough, this coin also exhibits strong doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides, most clearly seen in the date, the word Liberty, and even in Lincoln's profile itself, which suggests a dramatic double die error. And double die coins are highly coveted among collectors, with some famous examples like the 1955 double die penny fetching thousands and even hundreds of thousands at auction. But when you combine a major double die error with a misplaced mint mark and a planchet anomaly in a relatively modern year like 1998, the value begins to escalate rapidly, and then we have to consider the rarity factor. While millions of 1998 pennies were produced, only one or a very small handful of specimens like this have ever been documented, and that means scarcity plays a massive role in its valuation, because in numismatics, rarity equals value, especially when it's tied to a well-documented mint error. And what's also fascinating is the possibility that this coin was part of a short-lived test strike or trial run that was never meant to enter circulation but somehow did, whether by accident or through an overlooked batch, and that makes it an error on a completely different level because test strikes are not supposed to be issued to the public and usually are destroyed or kept under lock and key. So if this 1998 penny was indeed struck using a transitional planchet or a misplaced die, then we're not just talking about a production mistake, we're talking about a breach of protocol that resulted in a one-of-a-kind coin escaping into the world. And further driving up the value is the media attention and collector buzz that has surrounded this penny over the years, with its story circulating among online auction houses, coin forums, appraisal networks, and rare coin expos, all of which contribute to the growing mystique and public fascination, creating a sort of legend around this 1-cent piece. And sometimes in the collectible market, perception and story are just as important as the physical artifact itself, meaning the tale of a penny that should have never existed in this form becomes almost as valuable as the coin. And it also helps that prominent numismatic organizations and experts have lent credibility to its uniqueness, certifying it under the highest grading conditions and giving it a top-tier error designation, which matters tremendously in determining a coin's worth. And while most error coins might fetch a few hundred or even a few $1,000s, it's the perfect storm of rarity, uniqueness, documented mint error, misplacement, physical anomaly, and historical intrigue that allows this 1998 penny to command a valuation that seems surreal to the average person but completely justifiable to seasoned collectors and high-stakes investors who understand that rarity and provenance can make even the smallest coin a multi-million-dollar prize. And we also have to look at precedent, because other coins with significant errors, like the 1943 copper penny, the 1970s small date with a large date reverse, or the 2004 D Wisconsin extra leaf quarter, have sold for staggering amounts, and these sales validate the market's appetite for rare minting errors, especially when certified by major grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, and in the case of the $74 million 1998 penny, its valuation may have been influenced not just by its physical features but also by private sales, competitive bidding wars, the appeal of owning a once-in-a-lifetime piece, and perhaps even a bit of speculative enthusiasm, because some investors see ultra-rare coins not just as collectibles but as alternative assets akin to fine art or rare wines, where scarcity and provenance drive long-term value. And of course, this brings up the question of whether there are more 1998 pennies out there with similar traits, and while the answer is likely no, it hasn't stopped thousands of hopeful collectors from digging through their change jars, inspecting every 1998 penny under magnification, and dreaming of finding their own million-dollar coin, which in turn has created a sort of modern gold rush around this date, inspiring more people to learn about coin collecting and understand the importance of minute details that separate an ordinary coin from a historical anomaly. And perhaps the most exciting part is that it reminds us all to keep our eyes open, because treasures can be hidden in plain sight, even in the form of something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny. So the next time you come across a 1998 1-cent coin, take a closer look, because you never know, it might just be a multi-million-dollar miracle waiting to be discovered. World of rare and valuable coins, today's video might just blow your mind as we explore the 1988 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, a humble penny with a face value of just 1 cent, yet one extremely rare version of it has reached a jaw-dropping estimated worth of over $62 million due to a series of incredible minting errors, unusual die varieties, and rare conditions that set it apart from billions of other pennies minted that year. And if you're lucky enough to have one of these elusive coins hiding in your change jar, your life could be changed forever. So let's dig into the layers of mystery, history, numismatic intrigue, and technical minting anomalies that elevate this tiny copper-plated zinc disc into the pantheon of the most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint, starting first with the broader historical context of the 1988 D penny itself, which was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the key mints responsible for striking billions of coins each year. And in 1988, over 5.25 billion Lincoln cents were struck with this D, the mint mark, making it an incredibly common coin at first glance. Yet despite this massive mintage, a few incredibly rare error coins slipped through the quality control systems, and among these errors, the most famous and mystifying is the so-called 1988 D transitional reverse, or the close AM variety, a die variety that was not meant to be used in Denver minted coins that year, resulting in a tiny difference in the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side, a minute yet significant distinction that only the most eagle-eyed numismatists noticed at first. And while this error might sound minor, its rarity, combined with its unexpected appearance in a circulation coin, has made it an object of desire for collectors. But the story doesn't end there, because what makes this coin potentially worth upwards of $62 million isn't just a close AM reverse but a combination of multiple factors coming together in one coin, such as additional die clash marks, double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, wrong planchet usage, and in some theories, even an unintentional use of a proof reverse die on a business strike coin, each of which alone could contribute significantly to a coin's rarity and desirability. But when all these traits are potentially found in one specimen, the value could skyrocket to astronomical heights. And experts in the numismatic community have speculated that a specimen bearing several of these anomalies, especially one discovered in near-mint state condition, could attract the interest of high-net-worth collectors willing to pay tens of millions. And it's essential to understand that error coins gain their value not merely from the age or metal content but from their uniqueness, their story, and how they defy the typical expectations of the minting process. And when you add in the possibility of a mint mark error where those Ds might be missing, misplaced, or repunched in a rare fashion, suddenly you're looking at a coin that's as much a historical artifact as it is a monetary unit, and the allure of the 1988 D Close AM penny lies not only in the spacing of the letters but in how that spacing reflects a deeper issue with die management at the mint, where dies intended for proof coins minted in San Francisco may have been mistakenly sent to or repurposed at the Denver Mint, thus creating a blend of minting characteristics that were never supposed to coexist in a single coin. And when we factor in the rarity, only a handful of verified specimens exist, some say fewer than 5, it becomes clear that scarcity is a huge driver of value, and in the competitive and passionate world of coin collecting, where provenance and condition play vital roles, the 1988 D penny with the close AM and additional rare era traits has reached legendary status. And some theories even suggest that this coin was never meant for circulation and may have been an experimental strike or a die test, somehow released into circulation by mistake or through unusual circumstances, which adds to the aura of mystery and enhances its mythical reputation. And as collectors know, provenance, the history of who owned a particular specimen, also adds significant value. So when a coin of this type appears at a major auction house with authentication from a top-tier grading company like PCGS or NGC, its final hammer price can go well beyond its theoretical estimate, especially if it's in high-grade mint state, MS65 or better, or even with a red designation, which is especially rare for older copper coins due to their natural tendency to oxidize and darken over time. And while many collectors scour through rolls and bags of pennies in search of this elusive coin, most never find it, which only increases the mystique and reinforces the idea that the 1988 D Close AM error, possibly combined with other rare errors like a double die obverse repunched mint mark, or an off-metal strike, represents a once-in-a-lifetime find, the kind of coin that every collector dreams of owning and that wealthy investors might covet not just for its rarity but as a tangible and storied asset. And the buzz around this coin has grown thanks to online forums, YouTube videos, and numismatic expos where dealers and collectors share tales of near misses and possible finds, with some claiming to have seen one but not realizing its significance until it was too late, sold for mere cents or lost in circulation again. And that's why awareness is so critical, because knowing exactly what to look for, the close proximity of the L and M, the die cracks, doubling, misplaced D mint mark, and possibly even weight discrepancies, can mean the difference between a regular penny and a multi-million-dollar treasure. And as more coins are graded and submitted each year, the hope persists that another verified specimen could emerge, shaking up the collector world and resetting auction records. And given that the 1988 D penny is still technically in circulation and easily overlooked, it remains one of the greatest sleeper coins of all time, a tiny copper-clad disc with the power to transform its finder's financial future in a single moment. And for anyone watching this video who's ever thought that their coins were worthless or that true rarities are out of reach, let the story of the 1988 D Close AM and error penny be your inspiration to check your change, research your coins, and never underestimate the incredible value that could be hiding in the most ordinary places. And whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, this coin serves as a reminder that the world of numismatics is full of surprises, where the lines between minting accident and million-dollar masterpiece blur, and the only way to truly uncover these stories is by learning, observing, and always keeping your eyes open. So if you've got a 1988 D penny in your collection, grab a magnifying glass, inspect the reverse lettering, the mint mark, the overall condition, and if anything looks out of place, consider sending it to a professional grading service, because you might just be holding the next record-breaking coin. And if nothing else, let the mystery of the $62 million 1988 D penny inspire you to see every coin not just as currency but as a potential piece of history, an artifact that tells a story, and a symbol of the hidden value that surrounds us each day in the most unexpected ways. One of the most astonishing stories in numismatics, the tale of a seemingly ordinary 1990 D Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States of America that shocked the collector's world by being valued at an unbelievable $19 million despite its face value being just a single cent. Yes, you heard that right, 1 penny. And today we're going to explore every fascinating detail behind what makes this humble coin such a rare, treasured, and almost mythical anomaly, starting with the core fact that in the realm of coin collecting, known as numismatics, value is never just about what's printed on the surface, but rather about rarity, minting mistakes, errors, and historical oddities that transform a simple piece of metal into a fortune. And in the case of the 1990 D penny, the story is deeper and more twisted than most would ever imagine. as this coin, struck in the Denver Mint as indicated by the small d mint mark beneath the year 1990, might at first glance look just like the billions of other copper-plated zinc pennies produced that year, but within a narrow window of error, miscommunication, and mechanical slip-ups, a very limited number of these coins were minted with irregularities that defy the standard norms and thus qualify them as extremely valuable errors, especially the one specimen that has reportedly fetched up to $19 million at a private collector's auction due to a complex set of factors including but not limited to the absence of a mint mark when it was supposed to be there, and while the D is commonly seen on coins struck in Denver, there are verified specimens of 1990 Lincoln cents where the mint mark was either misplaced, missing, double struck, or exhibited abnormalities such as being off-center, partially impressed, or featuring font anomalies, which in numismatic circles significantly increases rarity and therefore value. And in the case of the most famous example, there is strong consensus among top-level professional graders and evaluators from organizations such as PCGS and NGC that this specific penny did not just possess a missing mint mark but also exhibited other unusual features such as a double die obverse, die crack errors, and extremely sharp strike details inconsistent with normal minting, suggesting that it may have been the result of a test strike, experimental planchette use, or a transitional error that occurred during a rare shift in minting equipment or protocol. And what makes it even more compelling is that most error coins are found through intense scrutiny using high-powered magnification, meaning that many of these pennies circulate unnoticed among the public for decades, tucked away in drawers, piggy banks, and penny rolls until a trained eye catches an inconsistency. And this brings us to the fascinating world of error coins where anomalies such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die clashes, broad strikes, cut errors, and double denominations all contribute to a coin's uniqueness, and in the case of the 1990 AD penny, the most high-profile specimen was not only free of its expected Denver Mint mark but was also struck on a planchette reserved for proofs or even on a foreign planchette according to some controversial yet intriguing theories, and this opens up a wide avenue of possibilities including the rare scenario of a mint worker accidentally feeding the wrong metal blank into the machine, a practice not unheard of but extremely rare due to improved automation post-1980s, yet still within the realm of possibility during transitional periods of equipment or shift changes, and while most of the 1990 pennies were produced in massive quantities reaching into the billions with standard features, those with even minor deviations stand out and can gain significant value in the market especially when authenticated and graded at top levels such as MS 69 or Proof 70, which reflect near perfect or perfect condition respectively. And as we continue exploring the context, it's essential to consider the history of Lincoln cents, which began in 1909 with the release of the Lincoln wheat penny to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, and since then, the penny has gone through numerous changes in design, composition, and minting process, with each of these shifts offering opportunities for rare errors to emerge. And collectors are particularly drawn to pennies from years with known anomalies such as 1943 steel cents or 1955's famous double die, and now the 1990 AD joins this legendary category, partly because a small quantity of pennies that year were accidentally struck using proof dies meant for collector sets but ended up in general circulation, and when this occurs, the resulting coins may display mirror-like fields, frosted devices, and unusually sharp relief, which drastically separates them from business strike coins and commands premium prices, especially if they somehow escaped mint scrutiny and reached circulation, which is believed to be the case with at least one of the mysterious 1990 D no mint mark specimens, and adding even more intrigue is the speculation that at least one of these coins may have been subject to intentional tampering or unauthorized mint release, as has happened in rare instances throughout mint history such as the 1974 aluminum penny or the 1933 double eagle gold coins, leading to high-profile investigations and legal action. And while there's no official confirmation of foul play in the case of the 1990 AD penny, the numismatic community continues to debate whether its origin story involves mint error, mechanical oversight, or deliberate mishandling, all of which only fuels its mystique and market value. And speaking of market value, a coin's worth in auctions depends on many dynamic factors including collector demand, economic conditions, marketing, media coverage, and verification through third-party grading services which provide authentication, preservation, and a condition rating that directly correlates with value. And when a coin like this gets certified by one of the top grading companies and gains coverage in collecting magazines or numismatic forums, its perceived rarity and desirability skyrocket, sometimes leading to private sales at eye-watering figures, and such was the case when this particular 1990 D-penny was quietly sold through a private auction house to a high-profile collector, creating shockwaves in the numismatic community and even drawing mainstream attention, as it's almost unfathomable that a 1-cent coin could rival the price of luxury homes, vintage Ferraris, and fine art. Yet that is exactly what happened, and it all ties back to how mistakes made by mint machinery, oversight by workers, or random coincidences of history can lead to the creation of items so rare and unrepeatable that collectors will pay millions to own them. And this leads us to one of the greatest lessons in coin collecting, which is that always checking your pocket change can sometimes lead to life-changing discoveries, because you never know when you might come across an innocent-looking 1990 D-penny with a subtle mistake that could be worth thousands or even millions. And while the $19 million figure is tied to an ultra-rare, arguably one-of-a-kind specimen, it has ignited a new wave of public interest in error coin hunting, with people across the country examining their loose change and collecting penny rolls in hopes of finding their own lucky treasure. And for those of you watching who want to get into this exciting and potentially lucrative hobby, the best first step is to familiarize yourself with known errors, study the visual characteristics of authentic rarities, and use basic tools such as a 10x magnifier, a digital scale, and access to online databases or forums where you can compare your finds. And above all, always double-check coins from transitional years like 1982, 1990, 1992. 1995, 1999, and 2000, as these periods often introduced design or process changes that left room for error. And if you happen to find a 1990 penny without a mint mark that looks unusually crisp, reflective, or simply different, it's worth sending it in to be authenticated, because you could be sitting on a 6- or 7-figure fortune. And to wrap this up, the story of the 1990 D-penny that's worth $19 million is a powerful reminder that history, error, art, and luck sometimes converge in the smallest of places, and that the value of an object can transcend its original purpose when it carries a story so rare, so strange, and so captivating that collectors are willing to pay beyond imagination to possess it. So keep your eyes open, your pockets checked, and your curiosity alive, because the next legendary coin might already be in your hands.